Okay, Pat, just want to piggyback a little bit off of what Dave said and then a comment that you made, that there is a lot of energy flowing across the country now with respect to what's going on. And I think the Tea Party movie reflects that, and I think the 9/12 Project and those folks are now energized. And the question is, what is the Republican Party going to do to capitalize on it? And what I would like to give you some feedback from the folks that I talk to around, it's not necessarily that they're going to win by challenging the Democrats because they didn't like what they did. Because what you need to do is work on the independents, the ones in the middle. What they're saying is, give me something to vote for, like the contract from America, like the contract for America. Spell it out and lay it out so that people say, I can support that. Right. And I can support that candidate who supports that, vis-a-vis the other guy that doesn't. Because if we don't do that, then you get into that malaise in the middle. And we never know how that's going to come out.
No, that's a great comment. We are working on that now. And I'll tell you, if you remember back in 1994, the contract that Newt put out was not done until after Labor Day, when most people, you all are paying attention, but quite frankly, most people aren't paying attention yet. Most people begin to pay attention after Labor Day, and that's when our goal is to put something out, and it's going to be a bottom-up document, and it's going to be simple, and something that has, a number of ideas, goals that are part of what we believe government should all be all about. So we agree. That's our goal.
Do you think September will be early or too late? Because this population takes a while to figure out what's going on.
Well, it worked for the contract with Newt, Labor Day of '94. So we think it'll be good. A congressman who's part of our leadership named Kevin McCarthy is the one that's kind of leading it up. Kevin McCarthy. You're going to hear more about it in the coming months. One more question, Bill? Charles?
No.
Oh, no?
It's my job to send you home to your
okay.
family.
She'd appreciate that, I'm sure.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Please.
Can I make one closing statement? Julie and Patrick, who are in the room, will appreciate this, running countywide. Demographically, let me give you an example how differently Franklin County is from when I ran my first election. In 1992, when I ran my first election for state representative in my ward in Columbus, Ward 54, and Doug and Brad might even know this, just to tell you how the demographics have changed. George Herbert Walker won my district 60-40. And he lost statewide, remember. Bill Clinton won. George Herbert Walker Bush. In 2000, when I ran my first race for Congress, in the ward that I lived in at the time, lived most of my life, Ward 54, Al Gore won 60-40. In 8 years, 1992 to 2000. Now, I'll tell you how bad it's got. John McCain didn't even hit 30%. It just progressively continues to get more difficult. And I see it in the Franklin County wards in my district, outside of Dublin, Westerville, New Albany. It is even changed demographically in the suburbs of Bexley, Reynoldsburg, and Gahanna. Reynoldsburg, John McCain lost. Gahanna, John McCain lost. Not by a lot. He won the other three. Barack Obama made great strides in Westerville. And in Columbus, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let me give you one funny story to end. And before I tell you the funny story, because I should end on a funny note, I just want to say, being engaged is important. We're not going to agree 100% of the time. I haven't found a person yet, not even my mom or my wife. You're not going to agree with Julie 100% of the time. You're not going to agree with Patrick 100% of the time. But we need your help. Tell your friends. Tell your cohorts at work. This is an important election to send a message. The Democrats in Franklin County are so arrogant, they don't even think we can win a county-wide race anymore. That's how arrogant they are. I have an opponent who doesn't live in the 12th district, never has, and the arrogance that she has, that, you know, well, I represent 60% of the district, and that should be enough for me to represent it. It's just unbelievable. And the arrogance in Washington is just unbelievable. So this would be a good message to send. We need your help. It's going to be a competitive election. Even with the enthusiasm, Dave, that you talk about, remember, this other side has a lot of money. SCIU, they just put $200,000 into the race in Pittsburgh in one day like that. $200,000. MoveOn.org, Georgia, they got a ton of money. And as Dave from Powell said, you know, they got big media on their side as well. You wouldn't know if you watch NBC or CBS or ABC tonight that the law that was passed in Arizona is supported by 60% of Arizonans. You wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that. So let me just close with this story. After high school and college, I started a learning center in the South Linden area of town called the Windsor Terrace Learning Center with a teacher friend of mine from Beechcroft High School. And so I'd be actively involved in that community, which demographically is one of the poorer parts of Columbus. Very rough, 99.9% African American, 98% households supported by a woman, so fatherless households, very poor, very tough. And so in 2001, fast forward, the White House wants to do a faith-based event. George W. Bush wants to do a faith-based event as his first event as president. And Ohio's a swing state. They decided to go to Ohio. They decided they want to come to Columbus. They asked for suggestions, and I said St. Stephen's Community House, which happens to be in a poor neighborhood. It's in my district. It's off of 17th Avenue, just north of where I started this after-school program, learning center. So long story short, the president comes in, fly over on Air Force One. Karl Rove's with him. This is February of 2001, and he does a great job. He's meeting everybody inside. The event's over. He's taking some pictures, and Karl Rove and I walk outside into the parking lot at St. Stephen's. And obviously, it's a tough neighborhood. It's a poor area. And Karl looks at me, and he's a big numbers guy. And he says to me, "You probably don't know how well you did in this area, do you? Do you have any idea what kind of vote count you had?" And I said, "You know what? I do. And I wouldn't today. But then my first election, volunteered in this community, really knew the numbers. And so I said, you know what? I actually do know exactly what I got in this precinct." He said, "Oh, good. Tell me what you got." I said, "Well, out of 425 votes cast, I got 8. That was his reaction. To which I said, "The president only got 5. So the brutalness of those Columbus wars, they just make your head spin. When you look after election in the urban wards, how difficult it is. And so somebody will say, well, you know, you got Dublin. What a great community for a Republican to run in. You can get 70% in Dublin. Problem is, there's only 35,000 people in Dublin. I got a lot more in Columbus, and they're not voting for me. They're not giving me 30% of the vote. I wish they were giving me 30% of the vote. So it takes a lot more than that. So that's why it's important. That's why it's important for Julie and for Patrick countywide to get out the vote in areas where there are independent voters to get that vote out. So thank you so much, Julie. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Bill. Thanks to the entire committee that you had tonight. Appreciate it.